Today we're talking about 5 reasons why the INFJ Hermit mode is the key to a better life. Staying in Hermit mode will never ever get you everything that you want, but it's a necessary component to get to where you want to be. INFJs have to learn that there is this period of independence. It's necessary because in that period, we learn that we can rely on ourselves. And a lot of INFJs feel like they're outsiders or they feel like they're not really part of society. But that is not the hermit mode I'm talking about. We actually need to take it a step further. We have to understand how far we want to get out of the system in order to learn how much we can rely on ourselves and then create the interdependence with other people, with situations that will help us to build our life based on where we want it to go. So today we're looking into 5 reasons why this hermit mode is so important and why going through it will help you to create the life you always wanted. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you haven't done this so far, to download the free poster on the INFJ Epic Life formula. And if you want to take it to the next level, then get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. Everything you need to know, you can find in the links in the description. Reason number 1 why the INFJ Hermit mode is the key to a better life is because we actually learn how to be independent. INFJ always feel like we are observers. But what we don't really understand is how much we're dependent on others. There's this path, and it of course doesn't just apply to INFJs, but once we understand that there is this path, we can actually see in what level we currently are at. And that path is dependence, independence, interdependence. We will never really get everything we want out of life until we get to that interdependent state. But in order to get there, we have to be in that independent state. And most of us are actually in that dependent state. And once we're there, we don't really see it. We think we're independent. Like, I'm not so naive to think like this is a black and white scenario of you're 100% dependent or you're 100% interdependent, but use it as a system. Use it to give language to where you are and how you interact with other people and the scenarios around yourself. So looking at it from a theory perspective, this dependent state is a place where you're still in need of how other people perceive you. That other people perceive you as a good person, that other people perceive you as worthy to be their friend, and so on. And INFJs very often feel like they're always in this independent state, but they forget that they still want others to see that you're doing things for them. That is one of the reasons why we're so giving. This doesn't just come from our altruistic nature. It comes from this need of belonging, and every single person has that. And so for us, this plays out as, doing too much for others, being over empathetic, looking out for others more than we look out for ourselves. And it would be very naive for anybody of us to think that there aren't parts of us that still act out of that dependent state. But the point is to move away from it as much as possible. Because once you're in that independent state, you actually learn how much you can give to yourself. Before that, when we're in that dependent state, we fill out our void through other people. We absorb their energy, we attach ourselves to their life, we become supporting roles in their movies, that kind of dynamic. But once you're in that independent state, you learn that at first, okay, this sounds really horrible. I'm alone. I feel lonely. This is really scary. But once you're in that phase, you actually learn how much you can fill your own void. And once you do that, you will never want to give it up because there's such a security from knowing that you can fill up your own cup, that you can create so much of that energy on your own, that it will make you stronger than ever because you recognize that you don't have to make compromises that go against your integrity when before you were willing to make them because you thought that's the only way how you can fill yourself up. And so the only way for us to actually get to this place is to allow ourselves to go into that hermit mode. So to really live by the notion of, I'd rather be disliked for who I am than to be liked for somebody I'm not. Once you allow yourself to tap into that hermit mode, you will be forced to tap deeper into your soul and to understand what you need in order to make yourself happy. It might not fill up everything, it will not be enough to create infinite abundance, but it's definitely the first step that will get you to that interdependence phase. You need to go through that hermit mode in order to learn how to be truly independent. Reason number 2 why this hermit mode is so important is because we learn that we don't need to focus so much on others. When I was in college, I knew absolutely everything about my best friend. I mean, I knew all her weak points. I knew what made her happy. I know what made her nervous. I actually lived in her emotional world. It was a really unhealthy relationship dynamic. And I've had this with boyfriends. I've had this with family members. It was one of those things that just felt completely natural to me. And now looking back at it, I see that this is something that most INFJs go through because we're so focused on others. But again, it isn't because, we're so altruistic or because we just want to help others. That's what we tell ourselves. But to a big extent, we're doing this because it is safer. It is safer to act in a way of, oh, I'm doing everything for you, so of course you're going to like me. It's a defense mechanism because it creates this illusion of how can anybody abandon me after everything I'm doing for them. It's a different thing to say, well, I'm choosing me, I'm doing things for me first, and then who's going to like me? That's harder. That is scarier because you're actually saying, I want people to like me for liking myself and not for what I'm doing for them. That was a really hard concept for me. But once I was forced in that hermit mode, I understood that every single time I focus on others, I don't see who I am. I don't see what I need. I don't see what will actually expand my life. The more you focus on others, the less space you have for yourself. Nowadays, I'm filling up my life so much with what I want. It starts from me, and then I help people, and then I connect with people, that I'm not even able to absorb what my friend is feeling like that. It's not possible. I could, sit down and focus one weekend on her and everything that she's going through. But first off, it's not my natural inclination. And second of all, I don't even get to that because I'm so in my own world. Experiencing life the way I used to experience is just not possible. Because in order to experience it in a way where you focus so much on others, there has to be a bigger void inside of you. And if you start filling up that void with your own energy, it's just not going to be possible. And that's a good thing. You need to stop focusing on others so you can see what you can do to fill up your own void. This is the only way to create an upward spiral towards your INFJ epic life. You have to be aware of what you want and who you are. And in order to do that, you need to stop focusing so excessively on others. Reason number 3 why the hermit mode is the key to leveling up is because you have actually space for inspiration. If you're constantly full with everything that is going on around you and with all the energy that other people are putting on you, that you're absorbing, you don't have any space for anything internal to actually pop up. We as INFJs, we're visionaries. We have a lot of inspiration within us. It just clicks because there's some kind of pattern recognition that is happening in the background. And before you know it, you're in the shower and you have this great idea. There is no space for inspiration or for ideas if you're already filling yourself up with everything that is going on around you that has nothing to do with you. It's the difference between spinning your wheels all the time, doing everything for everybody else, and barely keeping your head above water, to actually creating space, allowing inspiration to rise and create a life that helps you thrive instead of survive. Reason number 4 why the INFJ Hermit mode is the key to a better life is because we finally start pushing our own agenda. We want to help other people. Other people are important to us. We actually feel their pain. We feel what they're struggling with. And it's so painful to us that we feel like we have no other choice than to help them. But the truth is, we're completely neglecting our own pain. We're neglecting what we are missing in our life to feel like we're living out our potential. If you feel like life is happening outside of you, you're not really tapping into it, you're not creating the life that you want, then trust me, this is the core issue. You're not pushing your own agenda too much. If we allow ourselves to be in hermit mode, we will finally start pushing our own agenda. Once we're in hermit mode, we are finally not going to be overwhelmed by all the emotions the people around us are feeling. And we don't feel the responsibility of putting out fires that are not happening on our own ground. We as INFJs will always want to help people because we understand them. But please do it in a healthy boundary setting. Do it through healthy outlets. And the best way to do that is to make sure that you first and foremost create the life that you want. Then you will help people. It will happen automatically, trust me, because you'll always have the urge. You'll always recognize if there's somebody that you can help. But you're not going to do it in a codependent way. If you create space for yourself, and you feel inspiration rising, you're finally going to push your own agenda because for the first time, you're not going to be overwhelmed by other people's pain. And remember this, if you keep helping people and you're not making sure that you're good, you won't have any energy left to help them. But if you make sure that you push your own agenda first, that you make sure that you keep thriving, that you have more and more energy, that you keep creating more abundance for yourself, you will always have energy to give to others. Your cup of energy will overflow. And with that energy, you can continue to help without running yourself to the ground. And reason number 5, why the INFJ Hermit mode is such a key to leveling up, is because we finally learn that if we can stand independently, we're only going to create interdependent relationship dynamics with people and situations which add to our happiness, which add to our abundance, which add to our energy. You will see that you can help others, that you can inspire others, that you can create amazing relationships, but they're always going to be grounded on the fact that you are not giving up on your integrity. I was so in need of helping somebody because I saw that I'm the only one who recognizes their pain, that I was willing to sacrifice who I wanted to be, that I sacrificed what made me feel good about myself because the pain that I felt was so overwhelming and I didn't see another choice here. Afterwards, I recognized that I gave myself up. And so I might have tried to help that person, but what I was actually doing was enable them to continue on their negative path. If you tell somebody it's okay to treat you badly, they are never going to make the changes necessary. If you want to inspire others to make good choices for yourself, you first have to make the right choices for you. If you continuously neglect yourself in order to help somebody, you might tell them, oh, please choose yourself. But what you're doing and what you're showing them is that you're not choosing yourself, that you're not doing things that are good for you. We have to start with ourselves. Once you learn to be independent, once you understand that you can create so much security and well-being on your own, then you're able to only allow people into your sphere who are adding to that, who make your life better. So you can make compromises and they can make compromises, but they're never compromises that make you give up your integrity, that make you give up the way you want to see yourself. Getting from that dependent state into that independent state was one of the harshest psychological things I've ever gone through. Of course, as a disclaimer, I don't believe that there's any way we can ever get out of that dependent stage completely, but I know for sure that there has been a huge shift. And because I made that choice, that was so hard for me, I'm now able to create the life that I want. Every INFJ has the strength to make that happen. You just have to understand how beneficial that step is and that you trust yourself that you can survive it. Remember, rather be disliked for who you are than to be liked for who you're not. You're never going to feel fulfilled and connected if you have to alter yourself in order to be accepted by somebody else. You deserve to be yourself. You deserve to like yourself for who you are. And trust me, you will connect with people who like you for liking you. But it all starts with you choosing you. You got this. Remember, if you want some more guidelines how to get that process started, then check out the free poster on the INFJ Epic Life formula. And if you want to take it to the next level, then get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the 5 things that happen once the INFJ stops trying to be social.